FMA nation of the world. This is Marya Dela Torre from the Philippines, and welcome to the next episode of This Side of the Blade, brought to you by FMA Connects. This Side of the Blade is a video podcast dedicated to Filipino martial arts from a woman's perspective. It's a resource for inspiration, guidance, and connection for its viewers. And we're here to offer a platform for discussion that resonates with men and women of Filipino martial arts. Because we believe that together, we can forge a community that celebrates the strength, grace, and indomitable spirit of men and women of FMA. Our next episode is entitled And for today, I'm excited to introduce our guest, the one, the only, Mr. Brian Rodriguez. Hello, po.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? What's up? Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. Well, as many of your viewers probably know already, my name is Brian Rodriguez. I am been doing Filipino martial arts now for about 12 years. You guys have seen me on the formerly FMA discussion. I was one of the moderators. Now I have my own show, the Fight House Talks podcast, which we interview different martial artists of all walks of life, all different martial arts. Just been cruising around the internet. People see my face on several of the shows, and then also I've had a lot of friends probably on FMA Connects that are probably on my friends list. So for me, I've been involved in martial arts for, like I said, relatively. I won't say I'm a seasoned veteran, but I've been around for a little bit. Haven't hit the 20-year mark yet, but a couple more years probably will be. My main background when I first started out martial arts was in Muay Thai for a couple of years, and then graduated over to FMA, and then in combatives and different knife systems, Piper knife system, South Africa, Medusa knife system. C-Lot is one of my big backgrounds. I'm an instructor in Brent Richardson C-Lot for the street, levels 1 through 4 in that system, which is Bukti Nagara, C-Lot under Duthor's lineage. Also, too, just kind of I'm a veteran. I guess kind of like, two Arlene's on here. I'm an Air Force veteran. So I've been serving the Air Force for many years. I've been deployed to overseas in the Middle East and, different conflicts, Afghanistan, stuff like that. That's where I kind of learned my craft as far as making and fabricating. As my job in the military was an aircraft structural maintenance journeyman and corrosion control, which is basically sheet metal or tin benders, what they call us. So basically fabrication background, all kinds of machines, machinery, welding, all kinds of fabrication. The idea for the training thing didn't really start happening until I started getting more into weapons-based martial arts. For me, fabricating was part of the job. So with all that knowledge I have of fixing aircraft for several years, that's pretty much all I've ever done since I was 18 years old, is fix broke-ass airplanes, different helicopters, different types of fighter aircrafts, different types of transporters, civilian, space market. And, I figured, I got all these years of fabrications, why not put it to use and helping fellow martial artists get some trainers, So that's what kind of led me into the whole thing in the training world. It's like, I've seen some of the stuff that was out there. It's like, it's pretty simple. I can pretty much do it with my eyes closed. So, why not just, fabricate, whip some stuff out and give it to a select few people and then let them try it out, and then, and go from there and just see how they like handling it and how they like the quality of my work, and then kind of spiral from there a little bit.
Your journey into different system and different practices is amazing to hear. As for your journey into the training blades, I'm interested. When did you realize, or how did the journey started? Like, when did you wanna start working on it?
Like I said, just a couple of years ago, was getting into you know the weapons based martial arts. Then I started seeing some of the trainers that when I worked with a trainer under Two on Ruby, that she had some aluminum trainers and some wood ones, and I'm just like, these are kind of hokey. The quality wasn't there, the craftsmanship wasn't there. Some of them didn't even look like real knives. It's kind of like, hey, I work with exotic materials every day, all day of my job. So I work with, titanium, Inconel, stainless steel, aluminum, different types of aluminum, tempers, of aluminum, different types of tempers of steel. Why not just, seeing how simple they are to make versus making part of a wing or a rib or skin for an aircraft. This is like nothing to me. So it's like I got time to do it, on my downtime during my breaks. Let me. I was asked by her to make her a knife, a training knife, and she wanted the obviously the red. She wanted a red paracord on the handle and everything, and she's like, "This is what I want," and she gave it to me, the drawing. And I just kind of took it to the shop. It took me about 10 minutes to cut out and saw, and then a little longer to polish it all out. But I just started seeing, a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there who make trainers, and I'm not knocking any of them. Some of them look real great and everything. But here's the thing that kind of sets me apart from a lot of other people. A lot of that stuff you see out is mass produced on the water jet or cut out, and it has to be because you can't handcraft 100 knives. It just takes too long. It's not practical. So, but my thing is I actually make these when I make trainers, which I really don't do a whole lot anymore for various reasons. But when you make trainers, you start off obviously with the template. The thing that set me apart was mine are all handcrafted. They're all done by hand. Obviously, a machine would cut them out with saw, but everything else was either hand file, sandpaper, wet polish, micro mesh polish, Scotch-Brite pads. And it became a certain kind of pride and love in doing trainers for certain individuals. The thing also too is a lot of those guys do that for a living. I don't do that for a living. I have another job. This is basically a side thing for me. And you can ask a lot of people, I know a lot of people, where I've made them, didn't charge anybody anything. A lot of times I gave blades away for free. And that was because, like I said, I wasn't trying to, it's not a business for me. My survival doesn't depend on me making 100 training knives. It's just something to do. And it really kicked off, and I have to give credit to Tuan Rapagan from Pequet Turja. He's the one that kind of put me out there, and I'll never forget that he's the one that kind of, he asked me to make a blade. I made a blade for him. And he's the one that kind of set it off, and he kind of just started showing to other people, working around, that these are handmade and handcrafted. I took a little special pride in my work as far as doing it by hand. Like I said, when you cut them out on a machine, you're more about interested in production, making money, because you have to. It depends on your livelihood. If you get 100 trainers out, you have to feed your family. For me, I could take my time longer. I wasn't looking at making a profit, so I can take my craftsmanship and pride in my work. Not to think it sets me a lot apart from other people. If you have basic, reasonable mechanical knowledge or fabrication knowledge, anybody can make a train knife. The question is, can you make it good? Can you make it look good? When you take it to a seminar and you pull that thing out, do you want some jagged ass, piece of metal that's all, looks like something that your kid cut out? No, you want something that's polished, something that looks good. I started getting a lot of stuff from people that were saying that, well, your trainers aren't meant for contact. Well, it's like, well, no shit. Of course they're not. You don't hit aluminum against aluminum. They're made for free flowing, for flow drills, for solo carenza. They're not meant for full contact. There's other guys that make stuff for full contact. And there's guys out there, great guys that make stuff like Volpe's training for polymer trainers for hard contact. Another guy takes pride in his work. I'm gonna give him a shout out and a plug too. He does a real good job. There's a couple other guys that take some, that take a piece of metal and they cut them out in water jets, and that's good. They look good. The machine does the work for you, in my personal opinion. But that's just my opinion. A real fabricator knows how to use different hand tools, I do stuff. Like I said, I've been doing this since I'm 18 years old. So like, this is nothing for me. I make wings, I make fuselage parts. I make ribs. I make landing gear parts. It's like a machine, on a lathe, 5-axis, 3-axis CNC machine. It's like nothing for me to do. So it's pretty easy. I wasn't getting stunned about what I was seeing out there. Like, oh God, like I don't think I could do that. I could build anything. I always tell people I can build anything, and I have built anything. I built motorcycle tanks. I built barbecuers, anything. I can fabricate anything. And there's nothing I can't fabricate. So these trainers are like a walk in the park for me. But like I said, going back to Rob Pagan, he really kind of set me out with this little secret PTI group. And, he's like, hey, can you make me a list of trainers? So he gave me like a little thing, and I made a list of trainers for him. Word started getting around, then obviously that was on FMAer discussion, and people, were something there, and they were kind of like, hey, hit me up for trainers. So, it just kind of around, and, I think what it was making limited numbers, so it was more special than rather I was cranking them out on a machine. Like I have 100 of them here ready for you to have. And I've gotten requests for large orders. I just don't do large orders. I don't have the time to do it, and material is very expensive. Aircraft aluminum is very expensive. A sheet of aircraft aluminum could go anywhere between $900 to $3,000 or $4,000 depending on the sheet. So I always would use scrap material that was cut off and left over. I can find little pieces here and there, and kind of we're going to recycle it and throw it away anyway. So we're gonna just make something out of that. I know I've made quite a few things for different Tuhans and PTI, PTK. I've made stuff for people overseas. Like I said, it's just anything. If anybody knows me, and I think you know me for quite a while, and I like to give stuff away. I like to help people out. I'm not a spite with the things going around the internet or whatever. And I'm not out to make $1. That's not to say I haven't taken money for trainers. Some people have paid me, and I have taken money for them, because they're like kept insisting, take it, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it, whatever. But my usual norm was just to make one. If you want one, hit me up, send me a template, I'll make you one, send it back out. There's probably people going to watch and be like, I sent him a template like years ago, and he never got to it, bastard. But I just didn't have time. It's just due to my other job, my hours, and then changing positions. I'm a supervisor and manager now, and I just don't have time to go on the floor and do it anymore. And I have to deal with the Air Force. I was working as a contractor, so I have to deal with them, and I just don't have time to do it anymore.
That's all right, because I think that you're doing it out of your love.
Yeah. It was more of a love for the art thing and to help people out. I'm a giving person, like I said. And if somebody's like, hey, man, I need a blade, and I think you're a cool dude or woman, I respect you. Like to Arlene, who I respect immensely, you know that already. I made her some trainers, and she gave me some stuff back. I'm not going to say it was just like one-sided. She did give me an awesome book, that, and stuff like that. So I did it because I respect her and I liked her as a person, and her husband, Tuan Malcolm. So I made it for him. I've seen a lot, and now I've seen the value of life and the value of friendship. The camaraderie comes in the military is extended over into my martial arts journey. So there's a lot of veterans in the arts, and I've seen, I guess, hook only veterans up, because there's other people that aren't veterans that have hooked up. You know what I mean? But when I see it, for me, the joy is it's not like, it's kind of weird because I get excited when I give it in the mail and I'm packing it and I'm getting ready to send it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that tracking number and see they've received it. And when they get that message back and they're telling me, man, I love this thing, I'm free flowing with it, helping me out. I'm doing some drills with my students. Thanks a lot. That's all I need. But I think we need to see a lot of that more in the arts. If a lot of people are more kind and would give to strangers rather than just trying to make the almighty dollar and I've had some negative people on there that have messaged, we're just doing it for popularity and you're just trying to become popular. And there it goes again, the same thing like my time when I was on this show before. You're just trying to be popular. What am I getting out of it? To this day, I don't see all this popularity. I don't see all this glitz and glamour. I haven't made trainers in quite a while. And you don't see me on there like, I'm making a trainer, guys, just to get views and likes. That's because I don't want to do it anymore. I don't have time to do it anymore. It was never the intent. So I want to clear that in the show right now. That was never the intent to become popular, to get in the inner circles, which is somebody said a while back, he's trying to get in the inner circle of these systems and become their buddies. Well, no shit. Of course, I'm becoming friends. You know what I mean? Am I trying to get something, get rank or something out of it? I'm not even in your system. So how in the hell am I going to get rank? It's just something I like to do. And everybody knows, and they watch this, how much I give to charity, to raffles, everything. So I'm glad we cleared the air on that. Like, we're it's it.
Well, thank you for sharing your talent and your craftsmanship to a lot of people. And also I like the idea what you said earlier, that most of these are made out of scrap materials that should have been thrown away. So instead of it being thrown away, it now becomes a part of someone else's journey.
A lot of people, Guru Katie Hunt Aber, I can't pronounce her last name. I hope I don't butcher her name. Her thing I made for her, I forgot what blade it was, type of blade I made for her, was actually made out of an old wing aircraft. We cut out, it was a damaged part. We cut it out, and what I did is when we cut it out, instead of throwing it away, I took the part, I laid it out, and I cut it out of that wing. So it's the wing section of an aircraft.
Yep, this is what I like about artists. You have a certain level of craftsmanship that you put in it, and as an artist, it's really about looking at something and then transforming it into something new and creating
Something
something.
else, yeah.
Can you talk about any other obstacles that you have encountered while crafting, like the actual crafting of the training blade that you're doing, and how were you able to overcome them?
Just time. There's no obstacles fabricating. I guess I can make anything. I know I might sound cocky, sound like so on here, but I know what I can do. Like I said, I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and I'm going to be 47 years old. So,
Wow, the math.
I mean, you should see some of the projects. I used to let's go back. I used to work at SpaceX. Everybody knows SpaceX. I used to was in charge, the lead in there for building the Dragon capsule, which is the thing that mounts on top of the Falcon 9 rocket. And we used to fabricate parts like carbon fiber, make the pressure doors. I mean, like I said, my whole thing in aerospace has been worked on black projects for Lockheed Martin, F-22, F-35, other projects I can't talk about that are still secret, top secret projects for black skunk works for Lockheed Martin. So, I mean, like, you give me a blade, it's like, it's pretty reasonable, easy to make. Even if I showed you how to use the machine, you can do it. It's not hard. The thing is, do you take the time for the finished product? But to answer your question, the thing was time, because I was getting so many orders in at one time. I was getting like hundreds of orders every couple of months. If you come up with some obscure off the wall ass knife, like, I don't know, like say you got some knife in your area, right? Like in your area of the Philippines, it's only specific to your area. And you say, I need a trainer made of this. You know what I mean? Like, and you give it to that dude ain't gonna do that shit for you. He's gonna be like, nah, I need to make 100 or I'm not gonna make them for you. Because it's not worth his while to fire up the machine and cut out only one. The shipping, the handling, that's where I come into play. You message me and you tell me, hey, you're not telling me, but you ask me, hey, get a favor, can you make this for me? I'm drawing out a paper template for you. I'm sending it in the mail to you. Can you make this for me? And if I have the time, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to say, sure, I'll make it for you. And I've made a lot of one-offs. You can talk to different people that are probably watching this episode later on. Made a lot of one-offs of people that other people don't make. 2-1 Belton from Lubas, from PTK and Balance Walk. He asked me to make this zombie type trainer for him. You can see it's on my page. And it came out beautiful. I polished it. And it's like a zombie type trainer. It was a knife. And he's like, nobody has a trainer for this knife. I'd like to have a trainer made for this. Let me send you a paper template. Can you do it? Sure, send me a paper template. Trace it out, draw it out, measure it and everything. Bam, cut it out. If I'm going to pay for something or I want something, like I want something that's going to look good, and be good looking when I go to a seminar. People are going to be like, man, where'd you get that at? You know what I mean? And that's when I made my stuff. I want people to say that, hey, like, where did you get this thing at? Oh, this guy made it for me. Anybody can lay it out flat and cut it out flat. I can do. Can you fabricate it? Can you cut that stuff out? Can you bond it? Can you force it into like a real blade? And the handguard into the blade so it doesn't move. You know what I mean? Can you do that stuff?
I'm curious. did you like while making these custom blades for FMA practitioners? What lessons did you learn along the way?
Um, People are picky about handles. Oh, my head handle's a little too wide. Oh, I gotta follow it down. It's like, well, dude, I'm relying on you to give me measurements. If you don't give the correct, is this? And I get this shit at work all the time. So an aircraft hydraulic line, if you've seen them, they come in different angles because they have to be fit in the aircraft, like in the wing, in the landing gear area. You know what I mean? In the wheel well, stuff like that. So they give you a drawing and they give you a sample and they say, hey, make this line like this line right here. So what you do is you put on the bender and you mark your radiuses, you make your measurements, right? Well, I used to make it and give it back to them. Like, well, man, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Or I used to send it to another base. Well, it doesn't fit. Well, dude, you're giving me a drawing and you're about 600 miles away. All I can do is fabricate from what you give me. Now, you're going to have to hand bend it and tweak it to make it fit. So, yeah, the thing I've learned along the way is everybody has different specific hand grips. Women have different hand grips. Men have different hand grips. Some men want it wider. Some women want it real slender, tapered. And when I make my hand grips, I make them out of micarta, which is a composite, which is bonded wood, layered under resin. It's just stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked. It's real hard and strong, which we're going to get into that with the hairpins. So when I made that in micarta, it's very sandable material, but it's also very carcinogenic, like to breathe in when you sand it. So it's like it takes a while to sand to get it. So that's like the biggest thing I learned. That people always want different hand grips. Paracord has never really been my thing. It was my thing in the beginning. Then I start thinking like, I don't want to do cheesy ass paracord. You know what I mean? I know it's cost effective and it's easy to do. Let's just do micarta. It's a better, realistic, more grip like wood because it is kind of part wood, and it's easier to mold and shape. To get to the right thickness of your grip.
Interesting. So actually, they love your work really because of you're able to customize the stuff. Because if you're going to buy it outside, it will be
Get these other guys, and they already have a template. All they go is the water jet. It's programmed already. I know. I've run the water jet before. I've run it for many years. I have certain brackets I got to cut out, and I got to bend them later on the press brake and stuff like that. They're already programmed in there. So I go plug it in like this file right here. This blade's already saved in a file already in memory. Push a button and it goes. It cuts it all out. Cuts 100 of them out. Then I just take them out, deburr them, throw them in the box. Here you go. The trainers are made. Put some paracord on them. Cool. If you want that, that's cool. That's not knocking it. If you don't give a shit about the way it looks, and you just you not care about aesthetics, all you care about is functionality. All you just want something that looks sort. Good for you. There's some people though that go to seminars and they want shit to look good. You know what I mean? They want shit to be polished. I'm like, man, where'd you get that shit at? It looks good. Going to, you're showing up other people there. There's other Tuans there. They're checking you out, and you're like, it's kind of like, it's like, you ever see American Psycho, that movie with Christian Bale?
yeah.
Whenever they pull up business cards, he goes, "Oh, my business card. This is eggshell on fucking like pinstripe. Oh, this one is whatever something fucking egg crackle on something or like that, or this one's something kind of finished. Like they pull out the business cards. Same thing with trainers. I know because people have told me to go to seminars. Man, I pull out a trainer. This guy, this badass trainer. Whatever. Another thing with trainers is too. Some people get actual weapons and just dull them down. Nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. If you want to get a machete and running on the belt center and just put a radius on it, I see all these people getting excited. I don't know if it's the people don't know how these things work, like they have no mechanical like mentality or aptitude, but they get excited. Like some guy gets this rusty ass machete, like he takes it and just on a belt sander. It takes like 2 seconds, right? And oh my god, this guy sent a machete and it looks so good. Oh, it's this radius and it's so smooth. I'm like, dude, that took like 3 seconds to do, right? I was making Piper trainers for Piper, right? The South African knife system, right? Mm-hmm. So people would buy like this $6, $9 ass knife. It's a kudu knife, which we use in Piper. And they're like, man, I want it like made into a trainer. But this guy's charging me like $30. I'm like, what kind of asshole charges $30 for 20 seconds of work, right? So I started seeing all these posts and I'm like, man, I can't take it anymore. Like I'm sitting here fidgeting, I'm biting my knuckles and shit. And I'm just like, dude, I'm messaging this guy. And I'm like, I message this dude. And I'm like, send me your trainer. Just pay for the postage. I'll do it for free. It really pissed me off. And it's just that's another thing too. I start seeing people get ripped off. Like, You paid $50 for that shitty ass aluminum trainer that some dude was water jetted out and has like all sharp on one side and like, dude, let me do it for free. Just send it to me. I'll make you one. See the difference, right?
Tell me, how did you came up with that idea? Why
Oh, I was
and
just
how?
bored one day, like we had nothing going on in the shop, and but I did it. I got a sanding disc. It's like a 2-inch sanding disc, Rolock disc we call them for sanding. And I guess like I put it like on a piece of I put it on a piece of micarta, the sheet we had cut out because I was making spacers for the landing gear doors. I was cutting them out in the machine, and I just laid the sanding disc down, and I drew a circle like with a marker, it was just fucking off, and then I just kind of like drew like a little point, and I was just like I was bored, I was doodling because I was waiting for the machine to cut it out. Then I just started looking at it, and I was like, like I started looking at it, and I just like let me cut it out, so I cut it out. And then I was like, I had it, and I was like, it's like a stab. Someone told me, oh man, it's like a shiv, like in prison. Like, that's cool. You like you hit somebody with it and shit. And I was like, what if I add a ring like a karambit? So I just got a hole saw kit, and I went, man, I drilled a hole out, like a 1.5-inch hole on it, a rough cut. And I just start fiddling around with it. Like I flipped around my hand like a karambit, which you're not supposed to do, which I see people doing the karambit. Like, you don't flip karambits around, by the way. But anyway, like I had it, I was doodling around with it. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And I was like just kind of doing some striking and shit, and then I flipped it around. I had it like that, and I was like, man, I can make something out of this. So I cut it out, sand it, and somebody actually came up with the idea with a hairpin. One of the workers, he's like, dude, you can put it like in your hair if you're a chick. Like, oh shit, like you're right. He's like, I don't know how you like kind of like stick it in there. So I was like, well, let me sand it. So I sanded it down and made it to a point, and then I took it home, and I gave it to some people, and I gave it to my daughter and everything, and I was like, put it in your hair, and they put their hair in a bun, they put it in there, and I said, I'll try to draw it. And there's a picture of some of my students that had them like going to the car, and they would draw it out and be like, back off. So if like, you pull it with your finger and just like pull it out, and then you'd have it like, and we had an episode where people were kind of apart, where women were kind of like, well, it takes it, and I want to be clear about this. It doesn't take any training for that thing, right? That thing was. And I heard some people like, well, to manipulate it, you'd have to be like, there's no training. You pull the shit out and bam, in the eyeball, weapon, any target of opportunity, just strike, strike, strike. And I think it's so hard, it's harder than wood. If by some chance you had it and it snapped off, oh well, not on you, right? That's on the person. So it was just kind of by accident. It wasn't like, oh man, let me design this women's tool where they'll be able to use it. It was like doodling thing. I think it became something. And I experimented around with other things that didn't work out. But it wasn't like it was trying to reinvent the wheel on things. There's so many women's self-defense tools out there that everybody has now. There's only so many ways to skin a cat, right? There's only so many ways that you can make weapons.
Okay. You mentioned that you are no longer creating training blades, right? But your journey undoubtedly have left a lot of marks to the people that you have given these training blades to. I want to know, how has your experience influenced your perspective on creativity, craftsmanship, and perhaps even the broader concepts of strength and beauty?
Well, for creativity, it's like don't be afraid to go out there and, like I said, and experiment and make your own shit like I did. If you got an idea, put it on paper, try it out, make it, try it out, give it to a couple students, see if it works. The beauty part in it is you. It's not the trainer. It's you using the tool. That's just a tool. You're the one who guides that tool. So when you're doing your carenza and stuff like that, people are looking at you. They're not really looking at the trainer, right? They're looking at your movements. They're looking at how you move your arms, how you move your body positioning, your footwork. The trainer is just an added thing. When I see a beautiful woman using one of the trainers, I'm not looking at that blade. I mean, looking at how she moves, her femininity, how she moves, how she flows with it, right? The blade's just an added thing into it. It enhances her beauty already that she already has already. And we're not talking about physical beauty. We're talking about beauty in movements. Beauty like you do in nature, as backdrop in nature. there's a lot of women who put some awesome videos that I've seen on FMAer Connects and in the Global Forensic Project.
Guru Brian, I like what you said about it's an the beauty is in the movement. But I also believe that the trainers that you made is an extension. It's really an extension of the hands that's moving. The movements from the person who's creating these movements, these beautiful movements on their carenza, controls the blade. But also the blade really helped because it is an extension. It becomes an extension of the hand.
That's another thing that when I do my work, I treat that like I'm putting that shit on an airplane. That's the mentality I have. Attention to detail that they taught me when I was in the military, right? Folding T-shirts, doing your bed. When I look at that part, I inspect it like an aircraft part. You know, I'm looking at the thing and I'm making sure there's no burrs, no scratches. So my message for somebody out there: if you're going to put if you're a maker of blades and you're going to do it, I mean, anybody can do the water jet. I mean, that's what a lot of guys are doing now. But if you're going to make it by hand and you're going to tell me you're a fabricator, show me you're a fabricator. Show me you got the skills, the fabricated skills, use all the tools, use your knowledge. I got trained with a lot of old timers, guys that have been doing this stuff for like 40, 50 years, or my trainers how to fabricate. And they show me on these English wheel, all kinds of tools. And like, those are the grand masters of fabrication I look up to. Guys like, you know, Jesse James, West Coast Choppers. That guy's a badass dude. Look at the fabrication that guy does. So don't just be, just put some pride in your work. That's all I ask of you. Put some pride in your work. Send a product out, put some pride in your work. And that's it.
Do you have anyone that you would like to thank, or if you want to promote something in the future that's related to FMAer?
I said I gotta give thanks to Tuan Rapagan. He's the one who kind of mentioned my work to this group, and I'll be grateful for him. I want to thank him. He helped me out with it. There's a couple of other people on there. Tuan Jack Latore has been a great support throughout the journey when I was making him. He was always there, and give thanks to him. As far as the future, drum roll, everybody knows Fight House Talks podcast, right? So Fight House Talks podcast, the podcast that I made. If you'd like to be a guest, I think we've invited women on here, FMAer Connects, all different types of martial arts, candid, raw, filtered, frank, full of a lot of cuss words, a lot of one-off thinking. You feel free to say whatever you want, as long as it's not hate speech or threats. But I welcome people that are watching this. If you want to be a guest on the show, hit me up. Coach Kurt Leffler II. He's a partner in this. Hit him up if you want to be in an interview. And I want to thank before I go. I want to thank you, especially. She's an amazing person, and I'm 100%, 1,000% supporter of anything she does. So I'm glad, I'm honored of her. She even think about, some regular dude who runs his mouth a lot like me to have him on the show. If I put a black eye and a stain on the show, okay, that I'll apologize for. But but thank you too, Marya. You're awesome. We know that already.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, our audience have learned a lot from you, including giving life to something that would have been thrown away. You've also taught us about the value of friendship. And it's not about the money, it's about giving away love and your craftsmanship. It's also important to give credit where credit is due. And also that it doesn't matter how your trainer looks like, the beauty comes from the movement. In the words of Guro Brian, put some pride in your work. It's all about the technique. So make it look good.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you've learned a lot. This is Marya Torre from the Philippines, your host. And this is This Side of the Blade from FMAer Connects. We are now signing off. Bye.
Peace.